Okay, so now we are going to do 2.3, which is graphing piecewise functions. The objective is you're going to be able to graph any kind of piecewise function, and knowing what the other shapes are will also help. So what is a piecewise function? So think of the parts. So piece means it's going to be parts of different graphs put together. So it is parts of different graphs together on one graph. And they do this by using restricted domains. All right, so how do we graph it? So I like to make tables for each domain. We're going to use our circles. We'll review all of our knowledge. But basically, you want to know the shapes, and it will help. So know the intended shapes. So if it's x to the first is the highest, it's going to be a linear pattern. If it's x squared, it's going to be a quadratic shape. All right? So that will kind of help us to know if we have the shape that we want or not. So we might have to pick more values. Okay? So let's look at example 1. This will make a lot more sense once I show you. So on this one, you notice we've got 3 different restricted domains, okay? And so I've set up 3 tables. And depending on how many points you need depends on the shape that you want. So let's look at the first part. So here's our restricted domain. So just a refresher is if you had the bar symbol to mean equal under it, you're going to use a closed circle. And if it's just greater than or less, you'll use open circles on the endpoints, okay? So right here, I know I want to use -1 for x, and I'm going to make a note that that's going to be a closed circle. And then since I want all the x values that are less than 1, I'm going to pick -2 and -3. And then since this is x to the first, we know that this shape is going to be a line. So I technically only need 2 points, but I'm just going to pick 3. To find the y value, we're going to substitute. So we would take -2. I'm going to substitute -1 and then -4. And you can type that all straight into a calculator. So you would get 2 minus 4, which is -2. And then you're going to do the same thing, but x is now -2. So we get 4 minus 4, and then we'll try that one more time. And let's make that -3. So 6 minus 4, and we get +2. All right, so then we're going to graph these. So we're going to start at -1, -2, and we're going to make that a closed circle. And then -2, 0, -3, +2. And then we would keep going in that pattern. So, oops, try to connect the dots. It's hard for me to make a straight line and show that it continues. So this part is now done, the left piecewise. So then the middle piecewise, we need to use -1 and we need to use 2. And then I like to use a number that's in between. I'm just going to pick 0. We want an open circle on both, so I'm going to put an open and an open so I remember. And then there's no variable here, which means that the y value every single time is -2, no matter what. Okay? So let's change colors, and we're going to plot these points. So -1, -2, and this already has a dot there, so you're not even going to notice that this one's open. So it really is open, but it would be filled in. I've got 0, -2, and 2, -2. And this one I will see for now, and it's going to be all the points in between. All right, the right side is also going to be a line, since x to the first, and we want 2. It is going to be closed because we have the line. And I really just need one more point, so I'll just pick 3 because that's greater than 2. And so we substitute that in. So 2 minus 2, 3 minus 2, and we would keep going. So let's do 2, 0. And notice these don't connect, and that's okay. If they connect, that's fine. If they don't make them. 3, 1. And we would continue in that pattern. Oops. And so now we now have a piecewise graph. Okay? All right, example 2, we just want to practice with parabolas since that's what this course is dealing with. So this one just has 2 restricted domains, so that's why I have 2 graphs. So on the left, I want to start with 1, and it is going to be closed. And I want less than 1, so let's pick 0. Whenever you have, since that's going to be a parabola shape, when there's a negative, it will go open down. So I like to pick like 4 points. 0, -1, and -2. And we're just going to substitute those in. When you type this into a calculator, please make sure that you put a parenthesis around the number that you're plugging in and that negative is outside. So negative quantity 1 squared plus 1 is actually equal to 0. If I plug in 0, I'd get 1. Plug in -1, and this is where the parentheses become really important. You would get -1 plus 1, and we'll plug in -2. So make sure you're typing that into a calculator correctly. We would get 4, -4 plus 1 is -3. All right, and so now we're going to graph these. So 1, 0, and that's closed. 0, 1, -1, 0, and you can see how it went down, so I know I have the right shape, and then -2, 1, 2, 3. And then we just want to kind of curve this. It's not a line, it's a parabola, so it's like a U shape. Okay. The right side, we're going to start with 1, and it's going to be open. And let's try 2, 3, and 4. So we've got 1 minus 1, 2 minus 1, 3 minus 1, and 4 minus 1. And if graphs go off your dots go off your graph, that's fine. So 1, 0, and that one's already filled in, so I'm just going to put that there as a placeholder, but it is filled in with the blue. 2, 1, 3, 4, and 4, 9. So it is going to curve because that one goes off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to estimate it right there. And so we're going to curve this up. All right. And so they do connect, but that's still considered a piecewise because we took 2 different equations, functions, and put them together. All right. So now I'm going to let you try your homework and see how you do.